Whether you love squats or you loathe them, squats are a super important exercise that we should all be including in our workouts. They are great for strengthening your legs and your glutes, but also strengthening your core musculature. They're also a very functional exercise, so they can help to make your activities of daily living even easier. So stay tuned for these squat variations. Okay, let's go over the basic squatting form. So feet are going to be hip width to shoulder width apart, toes pointing forward or slightly outwards depending on your hip architecture. We want to hinge from the hips, bend at the knees, and come down to aim parallel with the legs if you've got the flexibility. Arms are going to start straight down by your sides, and as you lower into the squat, they can come out in front of you to help counterbalance the movement. Making sure that our knees stay over our toes and try not to cave in. We want to have our body weight in the middle of our feet so that we're not rocking back onto our heels. Pull up through the legs, squeeze through the glutes. There's your basic squat. Next up, we have a sumo squat or a plie squat. Here we're going to be emphasizing the adductors or the inner outer thigh muscles a little bit more. Here we're going to be outside shoulder width apart, toes pointed out to about 45-degree angle, bending at our knees again. This time we're going to keep our back up a little bit straighter than before. And we really want to emphasize the knees staying over the toes and not letting the knees cave in. Squeezing the glutes, pulling up through the legs at the top. That's your sumo squat or your plie squat. Next up, we have our closed stance squat. So here our feet are going to be underneath our hips or even slightly narrower, toes pointing forward again, chest tall, shoulders back. We want to hinge at the hips and sit back like we're pretending we're sitting back into a chair. And we want to try to aim to get our thighs or our quads parallel with the floor. And we want to drive up through the heels and raise back up. From the side, again, feet nice and narrow. Here we're working our quads harder than your standard squat. All right, that's your closed stance. Next up, we have a wall sit. This isometric hold can be great for even advanced lifters. So having your torso leaning up against a wall, back and shoulders, lower back, torso, everything up against the wall. Feet should be about hip width apart, but you want to walk your feet out away from the wall so that you can achieve a 90-degree angle when you bend your knees. So you want to have this beautiful 90 degrees at the knees, keeping the chest proud, shoulders are back, and we can have the arms across the chest or down at our side. Try to avoid putting the hands on the legs. All right, and hold for about 15 to 45 seconds. Next up, we've got our pistol squat. This advanced move requires strength, balance, and mobility. So with this one, we want to have our feet together. Arms are going to be in front of you. You're going to lift your leg up out in front of you and try to lower your leg until it's parallel to the floor. So I might show this from the side. We want to come down. We want to keep that supporting heel down, trying to get to parallel and then come back up. And then you can switch legs or isolate one leg at a time. This is a very advanced move. Ooh, all right, there's your pistol squat. So in conclusion, we went over 4 different squatting variations today, plus the basic primary squat in itself. Squats are very important for strengthening our lower body muscles, including our glutes, hamstrings, and quads. And squats are a very functional exercise, so they can help us with our activities of daily living. It's important to change up our squats from just doing the basic squat to doing these different kinds of variations to help ensure that we're challenging our muscles regularly and we're keeping our workouts fresh with some different kinds of squatting variations. Hope you enjoyed it.
If we're looking to improve our muscle size, our muscle strength, or even our muscle endurance, there's one exercise as well as a whole bunch of others, but there's one exercise that really pops out, which is the deadlift, as it will help us with everyday activities such as picking up boxes, or when it comes to improving our physical capacity for Olympic lifts or other power activities. So today we're going to be going through 4 deadlift variations. So firstly, going through a basic deadlift, we're going to have our load very close to our body. We're going to hinge over. Once we get to our knees, that's when we're going to drop our hips, reversing the motion, getting back to the knees, coming back upwards. So for our first deadlift variation, we're going to go through a Romanian deadlift. So, for example, if you were to grab dumbbells off of a dumbbell rack, you're going to have the load while you're standing upright. I have my gallon jug here. We're going to make sure that the dumbbells or load is extremely close to the body. We're going to make sure we keep our knees slightly bent throughout, our feet about hip width apart, and we are going to press our bottom out backwards, keeping that load very close, unloading the hamstrings here, coming back up. This is a really good exercise to build the hypertrophy or muscle size of your hamstrings. All right, coming into our second deadlift variation, we're going to do a one-legged deadlift. So this one's going to focus on coordination and balance a lot more than the others, which will give you some other benefits. So firstly, we're going to pick up one leg. If this is a new exercise to you, you can use that one leg as a kickstand to start things out so that you can kind of get used to the exercise. But if you're a little bit more advanced, then you can bring up the one leg, have the load in the opposite arm, which will really help engage the core throughout. We're going to bend forward, coming up. So this one, the range of motion isn't huge here, but you're going to try and balance as best as you can. Some common faults here are people really leaning and twisting as they do the exercise. So really do your best to keep those hips stacked and level and bend forward with an even core. Coming into our third deadlift variation, we're going to be coming into a stiff-legged deadlift. So the difference between a stiff leg and a Romanian deadlift is with a Romanian, the load starts at the top. With a stiff leg, the load starts at the bottom. So here, when we're coming in, we're going to make sure that our feet are hip width apart, our knees are slightly bent, our back is as straight as we can get it. We're going to come down. Usually, if there's some weights, we're going to be around here. Some people's range of motion and flexibility might force them to round their back, but really try your best to improve your flexibility to be able to get yourself into a proper position. So in this position here, my hamstrings are loaded. Coming upright, letting the weights hit the ground, coming upright again. So having it start from the ground just has a different stimulus for those muscles. Coming into our final deadlift variation here. So this time we're going to go through a behind the back deadlift, something that is a little bit foreign and unheard of to a lot of people. And it is majority a quad builder. And it takes a lot of emphasis off the lower back. So we're going to get into that. So it's a little bit strange to kind of get used to it, but we're going to stand in front of the bar, having the bar behind our back. We're going to get into a regular deadlift position, making sure that we keep our back as straight as we can, because with this lift, your flexibility really takes into account. So here, you have to kind of lean a little bit forward and have that load very close to you. Coming upright. Coming down. So here, a lot of the load is on the lower portion as we have to use our quads a lot in this lift to get ourselves up to a proper position. So as we all know, guys, deadlifts are something that we do every single day in our everyday life. So it is something that we need to put into our exercise programs to make our everyday life a lot easier. So I hope that you can try out my deadlift variations and improve your health and longevity. Other than that, everybody have a great day.
Hi everyone, FSI Hannah here from PSP Toronto. Today I'm going to give you some pull-up variations. The pull-up is a really great body weight exercise. It's going to help build our strength through our back, particularly our lats. Today we're going to go through the baseline pull-up exercise and 4 variations. So whether you are trying to get your first pull-up, work on your pull-ups for that specialty testing or work on pull-ups for your own enjoyment, this is the video for you. Watch ahead to choose which variations are going to work best for you. Okay, starting with our baseline movement, the body weight pull-up. I'm going to show you on this dowel here, but you can watch on the other screen for how it looks hanging from the bar. We're going to place our hands so that they're shoulder width apart on the bar, and our arms are fully extended when we're at the bottom here. As you see in the video, we're also going to cross our legs so that our knees are bent. We're going to keep your core nice and tight, pull your body up towards the bar until your chin comes over top of the bar, and then fully extending all the way at the bottom for the bottom of the rep. Each time we pull ourselves up to that bar, we're going to pull our elbows down, squeeze our shoulder blades together, engage through our lats, making sure that our chin clears the top of the bar, the top of every rep. Also making sure that our arms are fully extended at the bottom. We're not doing little quarter reps. We're doing the full range of motion through this pull-up. Next is our box-assisted pull-up. So we're going to, as you can see in the video, place one foot on the box and one foot is going to be hanging down. So that as we pull ourselves up to the bar, we're pushing slightly with our foot through the box. Depending on your strength level will depend on how much pressure you put through your foot and how much you're using through your upper body. Our goal is to use as much upper body strength as we can, but using that little bit extra help of our foot on the box to help ourselves get through the top of the rep. This is going to help us get that pull-up motion down when we maybe don't have the upper body strength to do full body weight pull-ups yet. Now we have our resistance band assisted pull-up. As you can see in the video, we're going to loop the resistance band over the pull-up bar, thread it through so it's nice and secure. Put your knee through the loop of the resistance band. This is going to help take some of your body weight off during the exercise. So the heavier the resistance band that you use, the more body weight it's taking off and the easier it's making the pull-up. This is a nice step up because you're still mimicking that proper motion of the full pull-up with your knees bent and your feet crossed, but you're taking some of the body weight off, so if you maybe can't do many reps or can't do any reps, you can still get that motion down. And what's really great about this too is that as you get stronger, you can put less resistance bands on there, so you can work your way down and see yourself get stronger as you go. Now we have our assisted plus negative pull-ups. So as you can see, on the way up, we're going to do that box assisted pull-up. Once we're at the very top of the rep, we're going to take our foot off the box, cross our legs into that proper pull-up position, and then we're going to lower ourselves down nice and slow till we're all the way at the bottom, reset, assisted up, negative down. There's a lot of great ways you can play around with this as well. You can start by increasing the amount of time that you take in your negative on the way down. Maybe your first couple of times you do a 3-second negative. As you get stronger, you can move up to a 5-second negative or even more. Additionally, once you're starting to get really strong up there, we can start adding weights into this one. So adding a weighted vest can add that extra resistance, make that negative even more difficult. Make sure with our negatives that we're staying nice in control on the way down. We're not letting ourselves dump it at the bottom or speed up too much. So to recap, we went through our baseline movement, the pull-up. We went through a box-assisted pull-up, resistance band pull-up, and a assisted pull-up plus negative pull-up. Hope that you all enjoyed the variations presented in this video, and it's going to help you vary your routine as you move forward on your fitness journey. Thank you for watching.
Hi everyone, Kim Lazo here, fitness instructor from Garrison, Toronto. Today I'm going to lead you through week 4 of our exercise variations. Today we're going to focus on the bent over row. Now the primary area of focus for this exercise is our back. Now our back contains some of the largest muscles in our body, and it's very important to strengthen this for injury prevention. Whether it's lifting a heavy weight from the ground or doing a lot of rucking, we need to have a strong back. Strengthening your back also helps with your posture. Now I'm going to show you 4 variations of the classic bent over row today.
The key to any variation of the bent over row is to keep a neutral spine. The back of your head, the upper back, and the tailbone should be in line. As well, you want to make sure that your shoulders are retracted, meaning you're keeping them back and down and they're not rising towards your ears. Whatever equipment you're using, make sure you're in control by rowing up and down without moving your torso. Your grip should be slightly wider than shoulder width, with your palms facing towards you. There is only a slight difference for the reverse grip bent over row. Your palms are going to be facing away from your body instead, and your elbows are going to be tighter to your sides. Now this is still working your back, however, you are going to be using your biceps more in this variation. For this variation, you're going to have a split stance with your spine still neutral. Your row is naturally going to be a lot wider here, so we're going to work the lats, or the wide part of the back. This variation is also unilateral, meaning we're strengthening both sides of our body equally and preventing muscle imbalances. The key is to not just vertically pull the weight up, but rather think of pulling the dumbbell towards your hip. This is going to engage your back. Ensure the hips stay perpendicular to the ground and doesn't rotate to provide momentum. The most challenging variation today is the bird dog row. This is going to utilize your back, glutes, as well as your core. You're going to extend one leg and row with the opposite arm. Stay tight and linear from your neck all the way to your ankle. A significant amount of core stability is required to keep your hips from moving side to side. As with all rows, we're going to maintain our breathing, so we're exhaling as we pull up and inhaling as we come down.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys learned something new and incorporate some of these variations into your own workouts. Today we went over the classic bent over row, as well as the inverted row, the landmine row, single arm row, and the bird dog row. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you stay active and stay safe.